the mafia that once controlled Japan, and how smartphones destroyed it. In the shadows of Japan's history, there once existed a criminal empire so powerful that it controlled businesses, politicians, celebrities, and even parts of the government. This empire was known as the Yakuza. For decades, the Yakuza ruled Japan's underworld with fear, loyalty, and violence. At its peak, it had more than 200,000 members and thousands of gangs spread across the country. But today, this once feared mafia is collapsing, and surprisingly, it wasn't destroyed by the police or politicians. Instead, it's being defeated by a generation raised with smartphones instead of guns. The humble beginning. The story begins in 1881 in the port city of Kobe. A poor fisherman named Harukichi Yamaguchi was born into a struggling family. Like many dock workers at the time, he survived by doing small jobs around the harbor. But many of those workers were also involved in gambling, smuggling, and petty crime. In 1915, Harukichi decided to create his own group. He started with only 50 port workers. That small group would eventually become the most powerful criminal organization in Japan. It was called Yamaguchi-gumi. Loyalty written in blood. Joining the Yakuza was not like joining an ordinary gang. Members had to prove their loyalty in extreme ways. Their bodies were covered in traditional tattoos, and if they made a mistake or wanted to prove loyalty, they performed a ritual called yubitsume, cutting off their own little finger and offering it to their boss. The boss was called oyabun, meaning father. Members were called kobun, meaning children. Absolute loyalty was the rule. From gang to national power. By the 1940s and 1950s, the Yamaguchi-gumi exploded in size. Japan was rebuilding after World War II. Construction, nightlife, and entertainment businesses were growing rapidly. The Yakuza moved into everything. They controlled construction contracts, nightclubs, gambling rings, drug trafficking, human trafficking, extortion businesses. Soon, they had thousands of gangs and hundreds of companies working under their network. By the 1960s, they had influence in 36 out of 47 Japanese districts. At one point, many people believed no politician could win an election without their support. When the mafia became heroes, something strange happened in Japan during the 1950s. Instead of fearing the Yakuza, many people admired them. Movies portrayed them as honorable warriors protecting Japanese tradition. Even police officers sometimes described them as a necessary evil that maintained order in society. At one point, surveys showed that many Japanese citizens believed the gangs should exist. The Yakuza even entered the entertainment industry, managing singers, actors, and athletes. They became rich, famous, and powerful. The war that changed everything. For decades, the Yakuza seemed unstoppable. But in 1981, the leader of the Yamaguchi-gumi died. A power struggle began. Two rival leaders fought to take control. Soon, the organization split into two factions. What followed was a brutal gang war. Across Japan, there were more than 200 armed shootings. For the first time, innocent civilians were caught in the middle. Public opinion changed rapidly. People who once admired the Yakuza now saw them as a threat. The government strikes back. In 1992, Japan passed strict anti-gang laws. Authorities shut down Yakuza offices, seized properties, and arrested leaders. But the real blow came in 2011 with the Yakuza exclusion ordinances. These laws made life almost impossible for gang members. If someone was identified as Yakuza, they could not open a bank account, get a credit card, rent an apartment, sign a phone contract. They were effectively cut out of modern society. Without access to the financial system, their business model collapsed. The generation that refused to join. But the biggest reason for the Yakuza's decline was something no one expected. Young people simply stopped joining. Japan's new generation grew up with the internet and smartphones. They valued independence and personal freedom. But the Yakuza demanded total loyalty and strict hierarchy. For young people, that life felt outdated and restrictive. Today, the average Yakuza member is over 50 years old. Less than 6% are under 30. Without new recruits, the organization is slowly aging and shrinking. The end of a crime empire. The Yakuza didn't fall in a dramatic battle. They didn't lose a final war. Instead, they slowly became irrelevant. A world built on cash, street power, and fear was replaced by a digital economy and connected society. And in this new world, the old mafia simply didn't fit in anymore. The generation with smartphones had done what police and governments could never fully achieve. They made the Yakuza disappear, silently.